wrap for Melody Cherie Rogers on Love and Marriage Huntsville. She's officially announced that she will not be returning to the reality TV series. Look, there have been a lot of signs that Melody was done with OWN, that she was done with Carlos, because she unfollowed him. She's said some things on social media, and most recently, she revealed some things about her issues with the show and how it's being produced. And someone, a producer on her show, basically wanted to be her TV manager. And when she said no, she felt as if there was retaliation.
What if a show's demise on reality TV wasn't solely due to poor viewership, but also to an internal power struggle? We're going into great detail today about Love and Marriage Huntsville's demise, and guess what? The person who actually brought the empire to an end is finally being revealed by Melody. Let's go back in time now, because everything changed the instant Melody left. It wasn't just another cast member quitting Love and Marriage Huntsville. Melody's departure was unique from the start. Her role as anchor kept viewers riveted to their screens by bringing the plots, the excitement, and the emotional impact. Fans watched Melody whether she was in a state of conflict or growth. People were therefore shocked and not happy when she decided to leave after 9 seasons. She initially claimed that her departure was a personal choice. Melody talked about focusing on herself, growing, and healing. She had gone through a lot in public, including her marriage disintegrating on national TV, co-parenting conflicts, business relocations, and friendships disintegrating. She displayed her entire range of emotions to the audience. She might need a break, so it made sense. The response on the internet was immediate. While some fans were appalled by her decision, others respected it. Then came the ones who began to question why the timing didn't seem right. The show had been changing for some time, and it was evident how well Melody kept it together after she took a back seat. More was revealed by her absence than anyone had anticipated. However, what if I told you that Melody wasn't just about to leave? She was pushed by unexpected people. Behind the scenes, there was a very different atmosphere. It went far beyond burnout. Melody had grown more outspoken about the show's direction over time, which not everyone found appealing. She didn't agree with some of the storylines that were pushed or altered, and there were rumors of producer pressure. Tension was inevitable in that setting because she valued control over her narrative and image. It became known that contracts were becoming problematic, and Melody had no desire to sign on for any more drama that didn't fit with her development. Some people working behind the scenes allegedly interpreted that as a threat, asking whether she would still be helpful to the machine if she refused to comply. At that point, there were growing rumors of a power struggle. Additionally, it was alleged that some cast members were involved in addition to the producers. Relationships had become tumultuous over the years, with individuals such as Martell, the Scotts, and even more recent cast members. Backstabbing, covert alliances, and staged makeup for the cameras were all simmering beneath the surface. It seemed as though Melody had been the victim of a slow push-out, and her loneliness wasn't just due to personal problems. Things took a nosedive after Melody left. The internet became quieter, social media discussion about the show slowed, and fans weren't just sad to see her go, they were furious. Some even started online petitions calling for Melody's return or improved cast dynamics after many people stopped watching altogether. It wasn't just that they liked her, they felt that she was essential and that things wouldn't function without her. The storytelling also reflected this. Although new cast members were added, none of them possessed the same energy. The balance was off, the chemistry was gone, scenes began to feel forced, storylines dragged, and the genuine tension that once captivated viewers had given way to awkward pauses and low-energy drama, despite their best efforts to bridge the gap. The remaining viewers observed the show's change in emphasis. Each episode felt disjointed since there was no longer a central arc to keep everything together without Melody. The transition felt flat despite the show's efforts to highlight other cast members. Before Melody brought something that no one else could replace, it became evident that the producers knew they had a problem, regardless of how disorganized things got. They performed in a lot of shows, they began bringing in new faces, cast members, friends, and influencers to stir things up, but the strategy backfired. Viewers weren't interested in the storyline, which began to feel like patchwork put together with sporadic drama that lacked genuine buildup, and these new cast members didn't contribute the same depth or connection. A few members of the original cast also didn't like these changes. Tension behind the scenes between the newcomers and the OGs began to quickly escalate. It was more than just screen time, it was survival, ego, and reputation. The people who had created the show from the beginning felt like they were being pushed aside to make room for people who had no connection to the main plot. Things became chaotic backstage as people argued over who should receive the attention, who should leak information, and who should stage scenes. Fans' criticism didn't help either, and some cast members even threatened to leave if nothing changed. While the producers were working to restore control, the damage had already been done. Social media was flooded with complaints that the show felt strange, that the energy had vanished, and that all that remained was forced drama and confusion. What was left of the show simply couldn't carry it the same way after the heart of it left. Now that Melody has finally spoken up, things start to get interesting because of what she said. When Melody finally spoke up in interviews after months of remaining silent, her remarks were powerful, even though she didn't mention specific names.
Too much going on, I got too much I'm doing. I can talk to you and give you some advice, but you gotta want to do it. I can't spend a whole lot of time talking if you ain't trying to grow. If you ain't trying to grow, you ain't trying to evolve, I can't even spend a whole lot of time talking to you. And you do opposite of what I say, or you ain't listening, and and that's just, I've had that situation multiple times in life. And it's like the person has to want to grow and be better and do better. And my hope, what I want for all of us, is I want all of us to grow. Every day is a day and an opportunity for us to grow.
She was clear that stepping away was essential and not merely a matter of personal preference. She discussed how poisonous the atmosphere had gotten, how some people tried to dictate her story, and how she would no longer compromise her tranquility in order to get a check. Melody also made hints about what would have to happen before she would consider returning. She wanted more creative control, greater respect behind the scenes, and a complete rebranding of the show's focus. She also wanted more say in how her story was told. In the most scathing manner possible, she criticized those who helped bring the show to an end and made it clear that if she ever returned, it would be on her terms and no one else's. She discussed fake alliances, backroom politics, and betrayal. Anyone listening could figure out who was involved without her naming names. She saw what was happening before anyone else did, and she refused to be a part of a system that no longer valued her. Her message was clear, but here's the unexpected plot twist. Melody may not be alone and may no longer require the show. Melody has been quietly discussing working on a new project, something significant, not merely a side gig or a little project. Others think she's creating a new show that gives her complete control, while others claim she's creating her own platform. From her point of view, there should be genuine, purposeful storytelling instead of producers tampering with plots and mayhem behind the scenes. Melody may not be acting alone either, as there have been indications that she has reconnected with some old acquaintances. Fans of Love and Marriage have been talking nonstop since Melody left. For some fans, Melody was the show, and they are adamant that she returned. Her energy, presence, and plot kept everything in perspective. Her absence throws the show off balance. Fans have been vocally demanding her return on the internet, tagging networks, and even creating hashtags to demand that producers make amends for their mistakes. However, some fans disagree, believing that the show needs a complete overhaul. They are sick of the same conflicts recurring repeatedly, the back and forth drama, and the rehashed plot lines. These viewers think Melody's departure could have given them an opportunity to change things, but instead it became more complicated. So they're calling for something new. New stories, a new cast, and new leadership behind the scenes. This back and forth has caused a genuine rift. There is a lot of discussion in social media comment sections. One post will call Melody the franchise's pillar, while another will declare the show needs to move on. People are picking sides, and it's not just a matter of personal preference. It's heated. Fans are accusing one another and even criticizing one another for being overly dismissive or loyal. Producers are unable to ignore the tension that has grown so loudly online. Whether they acknowledge it or not, the show's direction is being shaped by its fan base. Some claim that part of the reason the show had trouble reestablishing its rhythm was because of all the fan pressure. When half of the audience wants to go back and the other half wants to move forward, it's difficult to create a new era. And now let's return to the original query. Who actually destroys the show? Was it the producers' manipulation of power? In their haste to maintain viewership, they might have made choices that undermined the series' core. The introduction of unlikable new characters and the preference for drama over nuance all contributed to the cracks that kept getting bigger. Or was the cast itself to blame? Behind the scenes, rivalry and jealousy were obviously present. The dynamic on camera also changed as soon as the original members' trust was lost. You could sense it. More than the show's success, some people desired the limelight. Additionally, there is the set environment. Numerous indicators suggest a poisonous culture, control, manipulation, and partiality. Not only does that kind of atmosphere harm the actors, but it also has an impact on production scheduling and, most significantly, the narrative that the audience watches. Then there is Melody's departure. Was leaving before the ship completely sank a deliberate choice? Or was it merely self-preservation? Others think she left because she saw everything fall apart and didn't want to be involved any longer, while others think she left to safeguard her brand. There is more than one cause. It's a confluence of poor decisions, damaged egos, and a changing TV environment. The main lesson learned, however, is that the show was unprepared for what transpired when its most memorable character put herself before the brand. Regardless of the show's survival, one thing is certain. Melody's legacy is solidified, and the truth may be more complicated than any of the episodes we've watched. In a society where reality TV frequently consumes and then discards people, she made a statement rather than simply walking away. Melody managed to turn things around. She remained silent, safeguarded her narrative, and might have crafted the next chapter according to her wishes, as power in reality TV isn't just about who appears on screen, but also about who directs the narrative. And it's possible that Melody completely changed the plot. But do you guys think this is the last curtain call, or can the show make a comeback? Leave a comment with your thoughts.